This week on the StressLess Camping RV Podcast,
Peggy got a better understanding of RV off-grid power with Scott and Ben from ABC Upfitters.
and we reveal our big plans for 2026.
Where in the goofy USA did we visit?
Find out here.
And if it's time for your morning or afternoon coffee, you'll want to check out our Gadget Report on the AeroPress.
Tony also shares another impressive overlanding RV, and we have a hitch tip to support this season of safe and stressless camping. Hey, welcome to the, studio.
Yeah. I think only 1 or 2 more weeks and then we're off.
Yes.
Well, we're always off.
We're always
we're
kind
always
of
a
off.
little off.
But we'll be back in the RV.
Yeah.
So who are we?
Oh, yeah. I'm Tony.
Right. I'm Peggy.
Right. We're 2 RV industry veterans who travel part-time.
In a small trailer.
Nope.
That was last year. In a Rockwood Mini Light.
Looking to share big adventures and help you with great tips
Tricks.
and discounts. Boy, we are just, hello.
309 times you'd think we'd
It's
figure
Screw
it
Up
out.
Day.
Same thing.
Yeah.
Every week, all the time.
Okay. We got some big plans.
We got some big plans.
Big.
So you may or may not know that Route 66, like the route that goes between Chicago and Santa Monica, or Santa Monica and Chicago, depending on what part of this country you live in, I guess.
Right.
It is turning 100 years old next year.
It is.
And we are so there for it.
Yeah.
I'm ready for it.
Yeah. Well, we dig Route 66 quite a bit.
We dig it. We did the whole route in 2021, but at a very fast pace. And we've been kind of looking for an opportunity to do it at not such a fast pace. And we are taking 2026 to make this our year of seeing Route 66.
But we're going to do something very different.
We are.
We're going to start next year in Quartzsite, as we always do. And then we're going to go to Santa Monica, where Route 66 starts or ends, depending on which direction you go from.
One of the ends of.
Yeah, and we're going to slowly meander across Route 66 and have many meetups along the way.
Many meetups.
Many meetups.
Many meetups.
Vegemita vitamins.
So the plan is essentially, this is, kind of a really rough, loose, pencil it in plan. The California to Albuquerque, New Mexico in February. We'll take the whole month of February, essentially, to get from California through that first 800 and some odd miles into Albuquerque. Then we're going to need to take a break. We have some other things that we have to do. But then
including not go through the Midwest during tornado season.
Avoiding the Midwest. And then
at least at that time of year.
In probably July, beginning of July, we'll leave Albuquerque and make our way to Chicago and essentially take the whole month of July, maybe a little bit into the beginning of August to get to Chicago because, we'll be in Indiana for the Frog Rally in August anyway. So thank you, by the way, to Kate for kind of instigating and prompting this with just a little bit like, hey, we should take the road. And I said, okay, let's do it.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of the loose idea. If you are anywhere within driving distance of any part of Route 66 and you we'd love it if you join the whole thing.
Oh my gosh, wouldn't that be cool? A big old caravan.
But if that is not in your 2026 plans, if you're anywhere, and we'll be firming up locations and stuff, but just know that if you are somewhere in Arizona in February and you want to meet up with us, I'm planning to choose locations where we can stay 2 or 3 days and make it a stopping point for, a jumping off point for seeing other things in the area. It's going to take a lot of planning. If you do have some absolute must-sees, I know we have some must-sees that we want to do again that we've done before, but we don't know it all, obviously. We know very little. And so if you want to kind of help me figure out places to stop or places to make sure that we see along the way, please reach out and let us know. But that is kind of for the very, very loose plan for 2026.
I think we'll probably put a special web page or even collection up.
Yeah.
And there'll be, specifically like, hey, here's where we're going to be.
Right.
And you can join us, we'll have links to wherever we're staying for a day or 2 or 3 or whatever. So we'll make it more obvious and easier to participate if that's something you're interested
Right.
in.
Okay. So that's 2026. How about the next, 2 days of May that we have remaining?
Yeah. If you don't know, our friend Matt from Liquified is legitimately giving away a travel trailer. And we've actually seen the Delta
actual travel
Alliance.
trailer.
We've actually touched it. And he is legitimately giving that away at the end of May. So if you would like to enter to win, there's no cost. You just go to liquifiedrv.com and there's a survey to fill out. And from now until the end of the month, Matt is actually quintupling. That means 5 times
That's right.
your points. So if you fill out the survey, you get a certain number of points.
If you buy something, you get not only a discount, but points. And those points are being 5 times also.
Right.
5x'd, I think he says.
And one of the neat things about the way they've done this, even if you find Liquified at your local, like Walmart or something, you can upload your receipt to them and you get points for buying Liquified.
Okay.
They're really doing a good job with this, and they do an exceptional job with Liquified. Liquified is an RV tank treatment that, in a test that we shared with you, was the highest performing RV tank treatment. We use Liquified ourselves, and I can honestly say, after half a year of really using our trailer, the black tank still shows empty.
That's
when
amazing.
It's empty, of course.
Not always, just when it's empty.
When it's empty. It's a great American success story. The product is made right here in the USA by good people, and you could win a travel trailer. So
Can't go wrong there.
just buy it because it works, or enter the contest. You'll be flushed with excitement.
Okay. Sometimes, Peggy's out doing other things and Tony is the interviewer and I miss out on a big part of the podcast. Well, this time I actually got in front of the camera. Tony wasn't gone. He was standing behind the camera, so you can still hear him sometimes. But I interviewed Ben and Scott from ABC Upfitters to learn about RV electrical systems in general and what ABC Upfitters does and our specific upfit that we had put in like the day that we talked to them.
And the interesting thing to me about this is I tend to be very nerdy. No kidding, right? Well, Peggy is a normal human being, so she asks questions I think you will probably want the answers to if you're considering any of these advanced power systems. So without any further ado, let's go back to Indiana.
Well, here we are. We're still at ABC Upfitters, and I am fortunate enough to be joined by Ben Miller and Scott Herman from ABC Upfitters.
Hello.
And actually Ben Miller from ABC Marketing, right? So tell us a little bit about what you do besides upfits.
Yeah, so ABC Marketing is our parent company, and we've been selling products to the RV builders for now 41 years. So we're manufacturers, rep, and distributors. So we find companies that want to sell their products, to manufacturers, and then we go sell those products, and then we house some of those products here. Other stuff shipped directly from the manufacturer. So we do a lot of 12-volt electrical items. We do shower doors. We do a lot of lights. We do wheels. So we're not just doing lithium and solar, but obviously on the ABC Upfitter side, we take the company we represent, Masterbolt, and then we offer those products along with some of our other cool stuff like lighting that you'll see on Tony and Peggy's trailer, and some of those other things. So we incorporate some of those products into our upfit job as well.
And on the upfitter side also, you do aftermarket, which we're going to mostly talk about, but you also provide systems, kind of pre-built systems that OEMs can put directly in while they're building an RV.
Yeah, and that's really where ABC Upfitters came from. So we've been doing these off-grid systems for about almost 6 years now, and building and designing these systems for Rockwood Flagstaff, for Motor Coach, We do some for Airstream and some other companies in designing those. So after some time, we started to get calls from customers saying, "Hey, we want this system in our 2018 Mini Lite that you have the power package for a new unit." And so we got about 5 or 6 of those calls, and we were like, the writing was on the wall. We have to do something to meet those requests. So that was about 3 years ago, and now here we are at our new facility here, and have done what, Scott?
I think we're over 100 at this point. So
Nice.
Yep.
Customers. So, so that's been good and definitely a lot of interest. But it gives us the opportunity to see, the trailer when it's being built, and with our customers, with the OEMs, all the way to the customer ownership experience. So we can see it, the whole way around, which is really cool. And definitely not a lot of shops that do solar and lithium have that opportunity. So
Right.
It's really cool to be a part of this.
Yeah. I had a great question. I forgot what it was, but that's okay.
I think one of the advantages for us, so for example, this unit, which is yet to be identified, we were able to go walk the line at Rockwood and see exactly, step by step as it progressed down the production line to kind of go, what can we do with this to make our system integrate into this? And, what are the options? Because the components themselves can be arranged in different ways that allows us to kind of go, what are the possibilities? What could we do in this unit? And I think that, again, that's just another thing that kind of separates ABC Upfitters from what some of the other upfitters that are putting systems in travel trailers and different RVs. So
Yeah, and it's not just the Rockwood Flagstaff. We've done that several times with other manufacturers too. 90% of the manufacturers are here in Elkhart County, so we do have the opportunity to visit the production lines because we sell product currently to all those manufacturers. So we have pretty much free reign to go and look at floor plans and integrate our systems into those. So again, so that once the customer shows up, we're not sitting here guessing what we're going to do and how we're going to install the components. Typically, especially a floor plan like this in a front kitchen, we have a pretty good idea of what's going to be happening. So
Yeah. So you might wonder why we're here if we just bought this Rockwood. Why didn't Rockwood just put this system in? And in our case, as Ben said, the front kitchen unit, Rockwood doesn't feel comfortable with how that's going to set up at this point. Maybe they will now because we can show them what you did. And so that's another advantage, being here close and being able to work directly with the OEMs and the customers, and then you can help them understand what a system might work into.
yeah, it's a custom experience with every customer that comes in here. So Rockwood Flagstaff, they have a very put together production line, and so they have certain systems that they work the same way in every floor plan. Certain floor plans don't allow that and disrupt the how that production is flowing.
Yeah.
But that's what's great about us is we treat every unit here as a custom unit, and be able to, with the research and the expertise we have, we can fit these systems in very small spaces.
Yes. So you probably will remember the first time we really talked to Ben was when we first got our 2205, the one we only kept for the summer. That was a prototype of the new system. And then in December, we got a 2205 that had the full system put in and installed. And so now we get to say we are official actual upfit customers, because we didn't come out of the dealership with the system already in. So let's talk a little bit about, I'd like to kind of maybe some super basic information about RV power in general. Some people, myself included, until we really kind of met you and I got to learn some things, I said, I go inside, I flip a switch, the light comes on, that's all I need to know. It works, right? But now I'm starting to understand things like inverters. Most, maybe all RVs have a converter. So when you plug into shore power, it converts into 12 volts so that your 12 volt systems, like your light switches and your water pump, still work, right? But not all RVs have an inverter, but kind of maybe more and more, or for certain reasons, or certain RVs do. And so we had a rig with an inverter, but now we have a different inverter, right? And a different battery system. And so on the super basics, that's what we have, a different battery and a different inverter. Mm-hmm. But let's go a little deeper than that.
Yeah, so 95% of travel trailers or fifth wheels that are built like what you talked about. There's basically a converter and then an inverter in the system. The converter provides 12 volt power when you plug in, only when you plug in. If you're not plugged in, then you have the little lead acid battery that the dealer sells you to provide your lights on 12 volts. So we really take that concept and just scrap it with this system, and we completely remove the converter and replace it with a giant 12 volt power supply in our 460 amp hour lithium battery. So that becomes your 12 volt supply for your lights and some of your other 12 volt items, fans, your slides, and all that. So if the system's on, whether you're plugged in or not plugged in, you're always going to have 12 volt power, as long as that battery's switched on. So then beyond that, this big battery also powers a much larger inverter. So standard on the Rockwood, for example, you have an 1800 watt inverter that provides power to your receps, or 110 receps. So
receptacles.
Yep.
The power out.
Yeah. Plug in your phone to charge your phones, laptops, coffee maker, and whatever. And so this inverter in here is actually a 3,000 watt inverter that's powered by the battery. So what that allows you to do now, instead of just doing receps, you can do everything on the trailer. That's including your AC, microwave, a coffee maker, which usually draws more than what the inverter can provide sometimes. Hair dryers are famous for, for blowing circuits and fuses. So this really gives you the freedom and power to operate 100% of your RV wherever you are at. That's great for national parks, harvest hosts, just being able to stop, alongside the road during a trip and fire up your AC to cool it down, maybe do some work, take a nap, that type of thing. Mm-hmm. So it really expands your experience with your RV with one of these systems.
Okay, so we have a great battery. We talked about that. We talked about our inverter. What are these other two boxes here?
Yeah, so in addition to the battery and the inverter, we have a solar controller, which most RVs have some type of solar controller in them. This one's a little bit bigger. This allows for up to 6 200 watt panels on the roof, which is what we have on Tony and Peggy's trailer. So there's 1,200 watts of solar coming in, and that can really do a lot to help offset your 12 volt stuff. So like your lights, your refrigerator are two main items that's on most of the time. With that much solar up there, that will definitely help offset and even charge the battery.
Right. So I want another one of those things that maybe you kind of take for granted if you don't think about it. The solar panel is not powering the refrigerator. The solar panel is keeping the battery charged so the battery can power the refrigerator, the lights, the slide room, those kind of things. And I think if anybody stops and thinks about it, hopefully they know solar panels aren't power.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't power things, right? They power the battery.
Stored energy. They're providing energy to charge the battery.
So sometimes I'll see a question like, how much solar do I need to run my refrigerator? Well, you're missing a vital part of that equation if that's your question. So that was something that I just wanted to like remind people and put out there. And okay, so Tony explained to me, he said, because I need some other kind of visual. He said, think of it like you're going to the gas station. Here's your gas tank.
Mhm.
Here's your gas pump, or the gas station.
Yeah.
And then here's your pump that shuts off
Yeah.
when your gas tank is full.
Yeah.
So this helps make it so that you're not constantly sending too much power to the battery that the battery can't use.
Yep. Absolutely. And the inverter, you can kind of call the engine too. So the fuel tank is providing fuel to the engine, which is the inverter that provides 110 volt power to the trailer. So
Well, you know about cars too.
yeah,
That's a whole different.
Tony, come here. We're going to talk about that. But so yeah, I like to refer to that as kind of the engine. This component right here is a new component that we're offering. It's a master volt part. It's called a DC to DC converter, which is yet another, you can call it kind of gas pump. It's a battery charger, another charge source for your battery that you can utilize your tow vehicle motor to charge the batteries. So you think, well, doesn't my 7-way do that when I'm plugged in going down the road?
Right.
Yes, it does. But that's usually only like 5 to 10 amps.
Just a little bit.
So when you have a big fuel tank like this, 5 to 10 amps really is not going to do a lot to help charge the battery.
It's like putting in with an eyedropper.
Exactly. Exactly. So this charger here provides 50 amps to the battery to charge it while you're going down the road. So
even if it's a snowy,
yeah,
not sunny day,
right.
and your solar panels aren't getting much for you,
Yeah.
you've got that
Yep.
from the truck coming in, so that when you get to your destination, your battery's full and
Yep.
you're ready to go and boondock all night.
Yeah, it's a
Be a
great
boondock beast.
it's a great integrated option. It's not, not everybody, wants that option, but it's a great charge source to utilize your motor as a charging source for your battery. The other thing is, it's great in these conditions, like you mentioned. The 50 amps is equal to approximately 1,000 watts of solar. So
Oh, okay.
you think about that, and that's rain or shine, right? So there's
that
not
does
like,
almost the same that the solar panels do.
yeah. So if you combine, if you're, noon in June with the solar coming in, and you have the DC to DC running, that will offset your air conditioner
Yeah.
and run it, and you basically would not be drawing at all in those conditions.
Because you're
which is
bringing in as
pretty
much as you're putting out.
Yep.
Great. So, just happened that I love this color, but it's also all Mastervolt,
Yep.
right? They're all Mastervolt products. They are from conception ready to work together.
Yep.
Right? That's what Mastervolt does, is make sure that all these pieces talk to one another without the frustration of putting your whole system in and then going, oh, but I'm going to have to get some kind of a translator between this and that because I use different brands.
Yeah.
So that's an
Yeah.
important part of what you do, is make sure that everything seamlessly works together.
Yeah, no, I think that's one of the things that really separates us, is there is no finger pointing. When an issue arises, like, you're calling us and you're talking to us, whether it's me, Ben, Mike, or Josh, because we did the entire install, because we know each component, and because they're actually all physically connected with communication cables, it makes it really simple for us to diagnose. But there's no finger pointing whatsoever. It's not, well, we got to get in touch with the guy that made the inverter or the battery or the solar controller. It's all the same guy. It's all Mastervolt. One of the features on there that we haven't touched yet is this white USB cord, and that's really special to us because that hooks into your laptop, and there is Master Adjust, which is Mastervolt software, and it allows us here in Elkhart to remote into your system wherever you are. You guys travel all over the states. We can see what's going on without you having to come back to Indiana, and it's just a great way for us to stay in touch with our customers. And also, if we need to help troubleshoot something, that's what we're here for, and that tool is invaluable for us. We have that ability to look at each individual component and see how it's functioning.
Now, we have not ever had to use that. The only time that we've ever had any kind of problem, and it's absolutely not on Masterable or on ABC or anything, there's a panel on the inside in the camper where you can monitor and turn it's called the Combi Master, the inverter, on and off. And there's like 3 screens, right? And so Tony was sliding from one screen to the other and accidentally turned the entire system off. And we had just got the system and we couldn't remember what to do. And we called and Ben said, well, do you remember the big yellow button? And we said, we don't remember the big yellow button, but we'll get a good video. There's a big yellow button. And that's your kind of your battery off switch, like a lot of us have on the tongue, right? So if we do want to turn everything off, we can, but then we have to remember that big yellow button to reset it. We don't forget anymore.
Yeah.
Well, we haven't had the problem again, but
So that's
once we did that
that's
once, we didn't forget.
That's the storage mode button. So it's
Yep.
a safety relay, and again, something that really no other manufacturers offer this type of safety. And it also acts as a storage mode too. So if the battery was to go to 0%, that relay would disengage and shut everything down in order to protect the battery.
Mhm.
It also is constantly communicating with the battery, and if the battery doesn't like something it sees, high voltage, low voltage, temperature issues, it will automatically shut off to protect the system. So, and then you do have the ability to use that for storage mode too. So you don't have to worry about plugging this huge battery out and keeping it in your garage over the winter. You can set it and forget it here, activate storage mode, and you're going to be safe for storage time.
So this is really not a concern for us, but just so other people know. I know that lithium batteries don't like to charge below freezing or below 0 or whatever that number is. I don't care, because I don't charge below that.
Not your issue.
But
It is today.
Yeah.
But if it's all turned off and it's just in storage mode, does it hurt this to be in a situation that's super cold?
No.
It can just sit there and rest and not be doing anything, and the cold is going to bother any of the components.
It's going to be fine, especially if it's sitting doing nothing. And the smarts in this battery really don't allow the battery to be damaged in any way. So, for example, if it was 10 degrees outside, if the cell temperature is below 32 degrees, the battery simply will not take a charge. Many batteries don't have that circuitry built in,
Right.
so if you plug it in and it's 10 degrees, it's just going to charge, and it could damage the battery or totally kill the battery. This battery simply will not take a charge if it's below that, and once the temperature of the cell is met with a higher temperature, then it will automatically stop charging. You can still use the battery at
Okay.
older temperatures.
We can all learn
Sure.
about self-care from this battery. Don't let yourself be charged if you're not in a situation that you need to charge. You need to be resting.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe why Masterable?
Well, I think the integration, as Scott mentioned, just how everything's designed to work with one another. A lot of the batteries you see in other companies are group batteries that are automotive style or designed to go in different applications, whereas this battery is designed to operate, high load systems like ACs, microwaves. You'll see a lot of the Masterable product in high-end luxury marine. So it's highly engineered, and again, as Scott mentioned, all these components are designed to work with one another. So you get a system from us, you can you have peace of mind that it's turnkey. All the information comes into one touch screen, so you can monitor all your devices from that one screen. And then the other thing is it really does a lot of that work for you behind the scenes. It's primarily just a monitor. So it's doing all this for you. You don't really have to think, where do I need to charge my battery to and stop? How do I have to adjust my AC and limit, those types of things. There's a lot of things that this does that you really don't have to think about. So that's something that's nice. And just the advantages of us with our support and being able to back up the systems. We have highly trained techs here and engineers that look at these systems both on the OEM and the other side, aftermarket side. So that is a huge advantage in being able to service that on the back end. And then just really just how everything works together, like I said, and having this this all set up. We do everything to RVIA spec. So all the components that we use and the spacing that we put into the system and the components, we make sure that's to a compliant spec and that everything's going to be safe.
Mm-hmm.
So that's good to know. I mean, I knew this, but it's good to reiterate that if you have a system from ABC, if you have the master built system from ABC, you're not just a person who's going to come in here, they're going to throw the batteries in, you're going to drive out that bay, and we'll never get in touch with you again. Like, we know, even when we weren't as close to as we are now, that day when in the beginning when we accidentally turned off the power, we were able to just call, get a hold of someone, remember the yellow button,
Right.
and that is what Scott and I talked about. We're kind of a family, right? We have support of one another. We have other customers that we've become friends with, or other friends that have become customers. And we know that when there's an issue or a question, we can get a hold of you to ask it. But also, I like this, if you know that something needs to be upgraded, you can reach out to us and make sure that our system is always working at its best.
Yeah. And that's another thing with the Master Vault setup too. There's a lot of systems out there that are just, this is the package that we have to offer on the shelf. Do you want this package?
Right.
This system is completely modular in that, if you want to add more solar, if you want to add another battery, or if you want to add a larger inverter, those things can all be changed and added. We can actually put another Mac Plus on board. So now you have 100 amps going and charging your battery on the road. So those things, and
then you never turn off your air conditioner.
Right, exactly.
You've got to use that power.
Some people want that.
Yeah.
Or heavier boondockers that spend a lot of time, in the desert
Sure.
and want to have that peace of mind. So, and that can be done. A large percentage of our customers come back to us for upgrades later to add onto the system based on their experience. So,
We know that Bill was just here in the summer.
Yep.
Doing
Yep.
that. He was your very first upgrade, right? Our friend
Yep.
Bill.
Yep,
Mhm.
absolutely. He was our first mini light.
First mini light
Yep.
upgrade. Yeah.
But not only that, we kind of cross thread here at ABC Upfitters into the OEM systems that we provide too. So just like we support you guys as an ABC Upfitters customer, we do that with Power Package and some of our third customers as well too with the Class B vans. We're always communicating and talking to them, making sure they understand the systems, through and through. So we have a large Facebook group for Power Package owners on Mini Microlight that we have over 400 members. And now I talk to members all the time. They call me, ask questions. Something that's included we offer with those systems is a retail walkthrough. So if there's a dealership that's selling a Power Package and the customer wants a walkthrough on the system, we can do like a Teams video, a live walkthrough of the system. But of course, we do that here too.
Sure.
With any ABC Upfitters customer, we take quite a bit of time to go through. So when they leave, they're very confident on how to use the system.
Yeah, that's a big part of what we enjoy is the actual customer interaction. So typically I get a call from somebody, hey, I don't know what this is. I don't really know what I need. And then we kind of talk through the process of what do you guys do? How do you like to camp? I don't want to ever see another camper. I'm 100% off grid. Or maybe you're just the guy who's like, you know what? I'm traveling from Minnesota in the summer down to spend the winter in Texas or Florida. And from A to B, I'm going to stay in Harvest Host. I'd like to be able to use my trailer when I don't have the ability to plug in. So it really is an interaction of what do you need? What do you want? Because if you're not a hardcore off-grid 100% of the time, we're not going to sell you the same system as we would somebody who wants to do that. But then I always tell people, at the end of your upfit, say you're here for a 3-day upfit, we'd like to get done with the job sometime early afternoon that allows us then to do some education, because we know we install great stuff, but it's only as good as our customers understand it. And so I don't want somebody leaving here that isn't confident in their abilities to understand what it is and how to use it. And typically, our dream is when somebody likes to stay, at a campground, within a half an hour of here, and then pull into that campsite.
Don't plug in.
And don't plug in and use it and see, well, what is my actual runtime if I am, running my air conditioner and watching a movie and, those kinds of things. And then you have a pretty good understanding of, the shakedown. But yeah, I would say the typical customer will call us usually 1 or 2 times after that and just say, hey, question, and whatever it is. And then we rarely hear from people after that. And so for me, that is the importance of educating the customer, because I want them to go and do cool stuff. Not, hey, what, no, go
We do this again.
be stressless, go enjoy, have fun using your RV. So
You've always been part of our family, but now you are
Officially
Yeah.
part of
customer.
our family, and you're going on the hard wall.
Yeah.
Okay, so Scott said, a 3-day upfit. It takes them 2.5 days, and then you've got some time for the new user to go through and learn the systems and stuff. So 3 days, DIYers, tell me, you put in your own system, did you get it done in 3 days? Honestly. I mean, we were off doing other things. We got some work done. We did, we didn't have to fight with this. We didn't have to bend into some of those places I saw Mike get into. And in other things like B-vans, the contortions that he has to do, I don't know how I would get a system in my own rig. But 3 days is not very long, for someone who knows what they're doing and just focuses on that. If you're DIY, you've got 50 other things you have to do in your life, and this takes 3 months, and then something doesn't talk to something.
Yeah.
Right? So maybe some people might say, oh, but it costs so much, I could do this for half that price.
Mhm.
Okay, maybe you can buy a bunch of mismatched pieces for half that price, but are you going to get a fully integrated system put in beautifully in 3 days, and then have support of someone who can answer a question when something doesn't work?
Yeah.
Right? So yes, your systems are not cheap, but they're worth paying the money that it costs to have everything work together and work right from the start, and keep on working. And if something goes wrong, you can help us figure out what's wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. And we get that all the time, calls in like, hey, this is a really expensive package compared to what this inverter, this battery, and some solar panels go for online. And what you have to understand is there's so much more than that. I did an estimate this morning for a customer, and it takes me a couple hours to put together an estimate from scratch based on the consultation I had on the phone with the customer. And that estimate's roughly 3 pages long. It's not just the battery, the inverter, the solar controller.
It's all these wires and plugs and time.
It's lengths of wires, proper connections, the proper gauge of wire based on the run and the amps that are going through the system, proper fusing, the right type of fuse to use. So you have all these items that people don't really, when you're thinking DIY and the cost of a battery, which is a large
you cost out this and cost out this, and then you think you're done, and you forget about all those other little pieces.
And not to mention, the labor that's involved as well too, and just making sure we're putting the components in an area that's safe, that allows the components to breathe. So there's design, engineering, consideration, time involved with this, in addition to all the other parts that you see. One thing I wanted to mention too with the Mastervolt system. So Mastervolt is a part of a much larger company, Navico, and they have a lot of sister companies that manufacture electrical items such as Lucy Systems, BEP. So you'll find that our fuse holders, bus bars are all the same in that same product family with Mastervolt. So that's yet again a reason, all our stuff comes from the same place.
Same parent.
Yeah, parent company. So
I think the only other value add there that I just want to mention is that you have us. Like a DIY person they have my respect. I mean, I've talked to a lot of them, but who are they calling if something happens or when they have a question? Well, which company is it? And of course, then that company is going to say, well, who did the install? And then, well, what other components are involved? And that's where it gets a little bit challenging.
Yeah, even if you're able to put it all in there, getting a hold of all those different companies and getting them to all talk to one another, the finger pointing thing, right?
Yeah.
Well, there's nothing wrong with my inverter. It must be your battery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say we've had at least 10 people come in here who had DIY systems, and we've taken their nice different batteries and inverters out that they have purchased and tried to do on their own or paid somebody else to do. And the story's always the same. I wish I hadn't wasted the money on that, because what I'm after is a turnkey system. I thought I was going to be able to do that, and I just couldn't achieve what I was after. And that, to me, speaks to the process of what do you want? What are your goals with this? Because if you just want to run your AC and cool things off for 2-3 hours, sure, we can do that. Versus the person who's, I got to run my AC overnight. Okay, well, those are two different packages. Let's talk about that. What are you going to do? So that's the custom nature of what we do, and getting the customer exactly what they're after.
All right. Well, Ben, Scott, thank you so much for everything. For not just these last 3 days, these last 2 years,
yes.
these last hour of talking, walking me through this, making sure I understand in a way that I kind of didn't care before because Tony understood. And I think I actually understand the system now. So
Yeah.
thank you for that.
And welcome to
And
the family.
thank you. And let's take our picture and get us on the wall.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you heard us mention snow. That was back in November
Yeah.
when this interview took place. I don't know that it's snowing in Indiana right now.
We're really good at picking up our trailer at
In the winter
lousy time of year, but no, it's never a bad idea to go get yourself a new RV, right?
Anyway, if you want to talk to Ben or Scott or anyone from ABC and talk about getting an upfit for your own RV, give them a call at 574-333-3225.
574-333-3225. And of course, we have links to interviews, other information at our home on the web at StressLessCamping.com. Now, some of you have asked, can you run your RV air conditioner on solar power?
And that was part of the conversation that I had with Scott. First of all, and Ben, you don't run anything on solar.
Right.
You run it off battery. But you did a little experiment.
I did.
Right?
So I basically ran our RV air conditioner on solar and battery power to see how long it would work, what the results were. And I actually did a pretty nerdy job of writing this up in an article with charts and pictures and all of that. So if you're like, well, can you run an RV air conditioner on solar power? The answer's in that article, which we'll have linked in the show notes. But yes, it's cuckoo. And we also talk about not only present condition, how long we were able to run the system, but what's coming. The numbers are going to change significantly.
Right. Okay, so we said we're taking Route 66.
Yep.
One of our favorite stops, whether we're technically on Route 66 or just happen to be in the area, is to go to the town of Seligman This week's Goofy USA destination is the Roadkill Cafe in Seligman, Arizona. If you are watching this on video, you know that we make a separate video now. So head on over or stay on YouTube when you're done here and check out our Goofy USA segment on the Roadkill Cafe in Seligman, Arizona.
But something that's not goofy is the AeroPress.
Something that's not goofy is the need for coffee.
Oh dear, yes.
Well, it might be goofy, but whatever. So this week's Gadget Report is the AeroPress. That is how we make our coffee when we are in the RV and a fair amount of time when we're in the house.
Yeah, bottom line, it's a gadget that makes really great coffee, but it requires zero electricity as long as you have heat, from your stove or even a campfire. You could always heat water over the campfire.
Yeah, they have a bunch of different models and sizes. We have a picture here of the extra large one that our friends Mike and Lisa use. They're boondocking with us right now.
Yeah.
And so I got to do a little comparison on size, and whoo-wee, imagine drinking that much coffee.
Well, or you could share it.
I guess.
The AeroPress is sort of a French press, kind of, sort of. But the neat thing, it's a plunger type arrangement. And it's made out of plastic, which normally I wouldn't be a big fan of, but in an RV where it's bouncing around, we've never broken one.
Haven't broken it, yeah.
We've worn them out.
Yeah, the plunging part is like a rubberized plunger thing, and we have used them so much that we are on our fourth and fifth AeroPresses, I think.
But essentially, you just heat water however you do on the stove or on campfire or in the sun under a magnifying glass.
However you want to heat your water, pour it over your coffee grounds, let it steep for a couple minutes, and plunge it into a cup.
Yeah, and the good thing is cleanup is you just keep plunging once you're done with the coffee making. So when it's cleanup time, you just plunge the puck out and you're done. And it's that simple. And so not only do you use less water if you're off-grid camping, but you use a lot less in cleanup, and the coffee comes out great. That's the bottom line. It's super great
Fantastic.
coffee.
So if you want to actually see this in action, we did make a separate video, and that is also on our YouTube channel, which you're already on if you're watching this. And so again, stick around, watch Goofy USA, and watch Tony use the AeroPress if you want to understand how easy it is.
As you know, last week we were at the Overland Expo West, and we saw a few really interesting RVs, including this week's Rome Resilient Baja edition. This thing was just super impressive. It had a power lift on the back for a motorcycle. The construction was this aluminum outside vacuum laminated wall build. So it was just tough as nails. They build their own suspension. And here's something. Okay, so as some of you may know, I really love going to car shows and I like classic cars. And one of the things, going to shows where there's lowriders, I always wondered, a lowrider can obviously adjust its suspension.
They have the hydraulics or something in it, right?
Why wouldn't you put that in a RV and then be able to adjust the level of the thing, with suspension, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, it just makes sense. It's okay, you're not going to be bouncing your RV, I hope, right?
Would be funny to see in a campground.
It would be fun to see.
Travel trailer dancing in its space.
Gosh, right? But it would be cool to be able to use air suspension to level the RV. Well, this one does. It has an air suspension. So the logical reason to have that on a vehicle like this is you're going over rougher terrain, or if you're just towing down the highway, you could have it sit a little lower.
So you could have it lift up a little bit for higher clearance for the rougher roads. Okay.
But it also will let you level the trailer with the air suspension. Some of the other things I liked about this, the holding tanks are all stainless steel, not plastic. It was just built like a tank. It's got a 48-volt air conditioner that was really efficient, an incredible battery system, and just it was pretty impressive.
Okay, now I gotta move inside though.
Oh yeah,
it was gorgeous
It
inside.
really was. Some of these overlanding rigs are very stark. Not this
No,
thing.
this was beautiful. It had a really nice orange, tone to the upholstery and the wall colors and stuff. Whatever. Everybody has their taste. But the bunk system in this trailer had like a spiral staircase.
Yeah.
Encased in like upholstered wall. It was beautiful. It was just so pretty. It really
was.
It kind of doesn't seem necessary to have pretty and overland matched, but my goodness, it was just gorgeous.
It really was. It was well thought through. It was. It's not cheap. It's about $140,000, but it's about the price of a number of the things we saw there.
Sure, yeah. Okay, so it's almost the end of May. We haven't had hail for like 3 or 4 days.
What is up with the weather? My gosh.
It is just after Memorial Day, so official beginning
start
of summer.
summer.
And so a lot of people have uncovered and repacked their RVs, their travel trailers and RVs. And this is a good time to remind you that you want to go and get everything weighed now. Now that you have it all loaded up and you've got, your new linens or whatever you have, your food, go and get weighed and check your weight distribution hitch, because
we had somebody in one of the groups that we run, Facebook groups, they literally split the trailer frame right at the end of the A-frame because too much pressure on the weight distribution hitch. And there were some other contributing factors, including some rust. But you want to know what your RV weighs, not only front to back, but side to side if possible. And part of the reason is so you have the right gear. You can have too much weight distribution function on your hitch. So do know what the RV weighs, and that's just scaling your rig is always important for so many reasons.
Right. So this is one of those situations, like in a lot of situations, bigger is better, right? You can tow a 16-foot travel trailer with a 1-ton pickup, right? Too much pickup isn't, I don't think ever a problem. Too much weight distribution is a problem.
Yeah, those frames are designed for a certain amount of weight and stress, and you can overstress them. So, we've all probably seen those pictures on social media of the 1-ton pickup that's split in half because the darn camper weighed too much. So know your numbers. And we do have a whole towing calculator on our website.
There will be links to that. I guess last week, we honestly hadn't already planned to do a Route 66 trip when we asked the question last week. Route 66, retro or revise?
I think most of the people seem to agree with us. We love the retro.
Yeah.
But also some of the tribute or new stuff is pretty darn cool too.
Yeah. And like some people said, if this is the way that it can be a thing, then let's do that to make it be a thing. We just want it to be a thing. We want Route 66 to be a thing again, whether it's all the old neon or new fake neon that's more energy efficient, whatever, right? And and one thing that I thought about, almost every town has a Route 66 museum.
Oh gosh,
right?
yeah, there are so many. And so you can see
the old stuff in the new buildings. So this week, our question of the week is, can you show me actually, the best mod you've ever done on your RV? And this is purely just because I like seeing things like this, right?
And then, any regrets? Did you make a mod and later look at it and go,
oops,
oh man,
I should not have done that.
Well, that was a bad decision.
I had some kind of a dream last night. It wasn't about an RV, but I made some big major decision, and I was like, this was a huge mistake. How am I going to get out of this? I don't even remember what it was. It just struck me that I did dream something like that. Anyway, Route 66 and best or maybe possibly worst mods.
I'd love to see the goofs.
You can answer those questions of the week at our fun and friendly Stressless Campers Facebook group.
Yep. And did you know we do a once a week newsletter that's absolutely free? And just like Matt, until the end of this month, May 2025, we are still accepting entries to win the AirGear Easy Air tire inflation remote gadget-o-matic.
So make sure that you respond to this week's email by 2 days from then, by May 31st, whatever day of the week that is. And because that is when we are going to stop taking entries and choose one of the responses as the winner of the AirGear thingy.
Yeah. And we've gotten a lot. We're just going to randomly choose from the people who replied with, I want to win.
Yep.
And somebody's going to get that AirGear Easy Air tire inflation remote gadget-o-matic.
Know that you will find the show notes for this episode 309 on the podcast page at stresslesscamping.com, which is also where you can find our page called Favorite RV Products and Services. You'll never guess what's on there.
Yeah, our favorite RV products and services. I gave it away.
And a lot of those things also have discounts. So it's not just our favorites, it's also our favorites with discounts.
Yeah. Of course, you'll find us in all the places you enjoy wasting time on the internet, but you can start at stresslesscamping.com, where we have links to the places we like to be social with you.
If you don't want to miss a future episode of the Stressless Camping audio podcast, it's free to subscribe on any podcast catcher, and we are saving you a seat around our virtual campfire.
And if you are more of a video person, don't forget to like and comment and all of that YouTube nonsense, because it actually does help get the word out. Oh, heck, share with your friends, right?
Share all the things.
Yeah. If you think you're sunny, you'll want to share. No way.
What?
I don't know. I don't know.
Okay.
Sometimes being inside my brain is a weird place to be.
All right. Well, I need some more AeroPress coffee.
Yep.
You need to get back to your week. Have a fantastic week. And until next week's episode,
Stressless camping.